Hello, my YouTube world. This is Johnny Mo coming to you with another Q&A. Got a question a little while back. What are my thoughts on LeafVacs? My thoughts are this. I have a LeafVac system. Here's what I would suggest. I wouldn't sink a lot of money into leaves because you generally only get 1 month out of them, and you're going to spend between $35,000 and $5,000 on a LeafVac system. And honestly, the people that are talking to me are generally, or listening to this channel right now, are generally single operators, or maybe they have 1 or 2 guys with them. And if you have access to a guy who can drive your trucks, you know, driving 2 trucks is a lot easier to do than trying to get a LeafVac system to set up so you can carry your trailer and everything to the job site. Having said all that, is there money in leaves? There is. It's just, I find it's not as profitable because a lot of people around here just don't really want to pay a lot for leaves, you know, for what you've invested in it. You know, by the time you build up the sidewalls, you put the netting over, and you get the LeafVac, and you know all of that. You know, as far as LeafVac goes, they all do a pretty decent job. Some suck better than others. You know, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a motor. You know, I have a TracVac. I like my TracVac. It's the smaller one. It's not the real big one. It's not 18 horsepower. I believe it's like maybe 11 or 12 horsepower. It does well. It sucks up the leaves pretty good. But, you know, me being solo now puts a little wrench in things because it's hard to put the LeafVac on when you're pulling that trailer. See, we used to keep it on the other truck and we could drive 2 trucks. Well, I'm solo now. And so that adds a whole new problem to this equation. How am I going to get all this done? How am I going to do it? You know, so I'm not actually this year. I'm not even going to put the LeafVac on. We're going to go old school, and we're going to try it out that way. And you know, if I don't like it, then next year I'll put the LeafVac. I'm not putting the LeafVac on because I had to pull the dumper out to put the new quarter panels in. The rocker panels in the new truck. So I had to take the dump bed out, and the dump bed was so rusted, I said, just let's keep it out. So right now, I don't have a dump bed in my truck, and it's in the mid. I just got the rocker panels done. It's going in the garage tomorrow. I have to get some fixes done to it. The brakes need done. I need a new bumper. So I'm in the midst of getting all that, and I'm going to shoot a video on that about, you know, I did that on my marketing video, how I just didn't like the way the truck looked. You know, it was getting rusty, it was getting old. You should see it came out really nice, the rocker panels, and the corners. The rocker panels and the cab corners came out really good, and it looks really good. It looks like a brand new truck. It's a 2004 2500 HD, and, you know, it is 11 years old. It has 111,000 miles on it, and I'll drive it. I'll continue to drive it. You know, I keep my stuff in good shape. It really does look good. So, but I got to get it in the shop tomorrow, and then maybe by the end of next week, I'll be able to do a little video on that. But having said all that, you know, again, leaves are profitable. My thoughts on LeafVacs are awesome. I love them. I think it's the easiest way to do leaves. But here's the caveat to that, and the caveat is this. You got to have the setup. I mean, if you're a solo guy trying to run a LeafVac, it's difficult. And what I mean by that is simply this. You know, your trailer has to be able to hook up, and that LeafVac has to sit above it. Because generally, most LeafVac goes into the insert, unless you build something. Now, I had a bumper insert, because I didn't have a heavy one. So what I would do is I had it drilled the bumper, and I had a swing away gate on the bumper. So, and then what you could do is I used to ratchet strap up underneath the dump bed to keep the weight off the bumper. I would keep the weight on the dumper bed itself. Now the thing you have to think about is how are you going to do this setup being solo? Now my old setup with my single axle trailer worked really well. I removed the center jack, and I put a side jack on the trailer. So I had a pin and pull out, and the side jack would come down, and I'd wind it up, and the trailer would come undone. So, excuse me. On my new trailer though, I had a pivot bar, a stabilization bar welded from the frame all the way down to the mount itself. So this is on my 16-foot open trailer. So when I used to swing away the gate, it couldn't swing past that little thing. So that presented a pretty bad situation. So I could no longer use, on my 16-foot trailer, I could no longer use my leaf vac. So I had employees. So one, I would drive the trailer job. He would drive the truck with the vac on it. And it worked out well. I mean, you could pull that truck right up to the pile, suck it up, and it was very efficient. But you want to think through this process right here. You want to think through how the leaves. You want to look, how many leaf jobs do I have? You know, I would not go buy a leaf vac and hope to start going selling leaf jobs. Okay, I'll do it. My minimum for leaves is $90 for 1 hour's worth of work. So if I pull up and I blot your beds and I clean it all up, shove it through the leaf vac, and it's $90. Another thing you have to think about when you're dealing with leaves is, where can I dump them? Not everybody wants a whole bunch of leaves. And, you know, I'm not trying to discourage you, but I need you to think this process through, because you're going to invest a lot of money and for only get 1 month. You know, you get a Little Wonder. Little Wonder's about between $500 and $1,000, $1,300, depending on which size you get. You know, after you get the Little Wonder, then you got to get a leaf vac. That's going to be between $3,000 and $5,000. You know, then you got to think, like, how am I going to set this up? What package am I going to put on my dumper or sides on my truck? Another thing is, if you don't have a dumper, you're going to have to shovel all those leaves out of that truck. And I did it one year. Not a fun thing. Don't recommend it. You know, you're wasting all kinds of times. So those are my thoughts on that. I just think the process through. That's the only thing I'm saying. You know, think of everything. I had a nice system. You know, when I had my single axle trailer, I could take everything to the job site. I built sides out, and then I put a net over the top, like a tarp net, and that gave the leaf vac was able to breathe through the little holes of that. Another thing that you probably don't think of is how dusty it is when you have a leaf vac. You're going to have to change your filters in your truck, your cabin filter and your air filter. They're going to get destroyed by the dust of the leaf vac. It is, if you're allergic to leaves, a leaf vac system will totally crush you. Just some things to think of. That's why this channel is here. This channel gives you things that make you think outside the box, makes you see things from a different perspective that you normally wouldn't do. I'm not saying don't do it, but think before you act, because we get about a month, from about October 20th all the way to November 25th. That's the month. You're getting a month. So how much do you want to put into leaf removal? I would suggest putting a set of gator blades on your zero turn, reducing the leaves as you cut them up real quick, as fast as you can. Just cut them. Get a bagger, bag them all up, then throw them through the leaf vac. You can get more in your truck, and then you can get more jobs done in a day. Like, you don't want to be constantly dumping your truck every job, so you want to reduce as many leaves as you can. Another thing is, you're going to need a 3/4 ton truck because of the payload. Here in Pennsylvania, the DOT has really put a bottleneck, a stronghold on businesses like mine, getting pulled over and checking your weight. And if you've got, if you've got you're pulling a trailer, you've got this honking leaf vac on the back, and you got these big sides on it, the DOT are going to pull you over. I mean, that's a lot of stuff, a lot of equipment for you to haul. And so really think it through. Just think it through when you're dealing with leaf vacs. Bigger's not always better. Better is better. Out of the lower horsepowered ones, track vac's probably the best. The rest of them are a little bit too underpowered, and it's like the Billy Goat, the lesser horsepower one. It does a good job as long as they're not, if they're wet, it doesn't want to suck it up through. It clogs, you're constantly unclogging it, and it's a pain. Whereas, if you have one like the track vac, it had enough power to really suck it up through. And I used to take my track vac and verse like a Billy Goat just to see which one would do it faster. Mine was faster, but at the same time, it was like $3,500. I mean, and then you can go up to, you know, the real big ones like Giant Vac or Little Wonder. They got some really honking ones, and you know, then you're gonna have to figure out how to do that, because if you got some big leaf jobs, the best way to go is to go ahead and buy a leaf vac system, but you're going to have to use multiple trucks, and if you're solo, that adds a problem. Some stuff that you could do is put everything in a pile, go home, get your other truck, come back, and do it that way. You can come back and suck up the pile, but that's a lot of running back and forth, and by the meantime, the pile that you have, it could be that it's going to, you know, blow all over the neighborhood again. Just some ideas and some thoughts for you. I'm not going to say it's a good or a bad idea. It's just put some real thought in it. So if you have any questions about leaf vacs, ask me a question. I will answer them. I've run a leaf vac probably for about 10 years now. This will be my first year in 10 years that I haven't had a leaf vac system. And I'm already making plans on what I'm doing. And I have I'll show you on my mower what I'm already starting to do with my mower, because leaves are already starting to fall. So any questions, leave them in the comment. Appreciate you guys watching, and thanks a lot.